Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week, we're going back to the most important time period in human history as far as this podcast is concerned. Because without the events of September 1987, this podcast would not exist, because we are going back to the time period in which both Sam and I were brought into this world just 11 days apart.
Two children, one of light and one of dark, are born this day.
I was going to ask which is which.
We're still figuring
it
out.
You're the dark.
Oh, okay.
We've talked about our high school and college experiences enough on this, where I feel like you were way cooler as like a teen, which I feel like puts me in the light category.
Or it's one of those situations where you don't really know which one's which until the ultimate moment of like decision, where it's like, we have to save them all, and then you're like,
I walk
no.
away.
Yeah, and you push the button and the town explodes. Like,
wow, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a pretty safe bet that two Muppet podcasters aren't ever going to be in a situation where we have the power to destroy a town with a button.
We'll just never know which was light and which was dark. It will be a real anticlimactic situation.
Yeah, it's like a Schrodinger's podcaster.
Yeah.
Well, the reason we're going back to September of 1987, as we talked about previously, we have covered Fraggle Rock, the animated series. We rushed through that, and that is basically takes place from the fall through the end of 1987. But there's a lot of stuff in that time period that we have not covered yet. So we're going back to work our way through. And the first thing that we must reckon with is a brand new season of Muppet Babies.
Let's rush through this too. Let's watch all 20 episodes or whatever.
There's only like 13 or 16. It's not too terrible.
Let's spend 1 week watching every remaining episode of Muppet Babies.
I feel like, we'd have to take off work. We'd have to say goodbye to our wives for a week.
That's
we would have to hunker down.
That's a good point.
And maybe it's just best, me and you take vacation for a week.
Yeah.
We go find an Airbnb, on the lake. And you and I
we really
just
make
spend
a thing out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We just put ourselves through hell and watch an entire series of Muppet Babies in 1 week.
We wear diapers. We
We'd
just
have
really
to. We
put
can't get up.
ourselves in that world. Yeah. We spend all of our Christmas break watching Muppet Babies, and our family hates us so much.
I'd hate us.
Yeah, that would
if
be
we made
bad.
that decision. I feel like our audience would hate us. They'd be like, guys, you don't have to do that to yourselves.
Santa would be like, you guys were on the good list right up until this very second.
He pokes his head out of the chimney and he's like, it smells terrible in here. What have you guys been doing?
Shaking his head, really disappointed. This was the worst time of watching Muppet Babies for me. So I'm just currently in a really dark place.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it will keep that way.
Yeah.
But I think I miss the guy who wrote every other episode.
Wow. Well, we're definitely going to talk about that because I could not disagree more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we are here today to talk about the first 3 episodes of season 4 of Muppet Babies, titled Muppetland, Water Babies, and the Incredible Shrinking Weirdo. Because we are now about 42% of the way through Muppet Babies.
It feels like we've been 42% every time you've said that we're some percentage through.
It's because we're not moving very quickly through them, and there's a lot of them.
You're not fucking with me, though?
I'm not fucking with you.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
We've been in the 40s forever. For years, it feels like.
I think the last time was maybe 40%, and then the time before that was like 36. So yeah, we're not moving very fast.
Oh, God.
But before we talk about that, I wanted to check in on something, Sam, that we've talked about a few times in the podcast, which is your enjoyment of gimmick foods.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
We've talked about this mostly, I feel like, in our non-Muppet segment of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's anyone not listening that far into the podcast, maybe they haven't heard that section. But I think this is a thing that we share in common, but that you are more a pursuer of than
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, sort of how often this comes up in your life. Do you feel like there's a moment that kicked this off, or has this just always been a part of your personality? And I guess maybe for the people who don't know what I'm talking about, can you explain what the hell I'm talking about?
So all the time these days, it seems like Frito Lay, your Coca Colas, they're rolling out flavors of non-standard flavors of beloved products, like pickle flavored Doritos was one of them, or what like that spicy Coke,
Or the space Coke
the
that
space
tastes like the
Coke,
universe?
the AI Coke. Coke does it a
Hmm.
lot. Frito does it a lot.
They have an
It's just like
Oreo Coke at the
yeah,
moment.
that's the big one right now is the Oreo Coke crossover. But basically, it's just like limited time flavors of things you think you know. You're experiencing them in a different way. Or it'll be like a movie tie in where Fanta has the Beetlejuice soda. And I think to me, I can't remember what kicked it off, but I would guess it was probably Jones Soda. Do you remember Jones Soda?
Yeah, like the Thanksgiving sodas.
Yeah, I know it still exists, but that was always fun when they would
Yeah.
have the Thanksgiving or they'd have just like like a weird Christmas flavor or something like that. But I think I actually really got into non-standard flavors much more recently when I had a friend who was like, these pistachio Oreo thins are the best Oreos I've ever had in my life. And I tried them and I was like, fuck yeah, these are the best Oreos I've ever had in my life. And they don't make them anymore and I miss them so much. So I think now when I see a weird flavor on the shelf, I'm just like, I have to try it. I have to know if this is the best thing I'll have ever eaten in my life because I know it's only going to be around. Like this time that I'm seeing it in the store is the only time that I'm going to see it in the
Right.
store, basically. Halloween candy is also great for this, where they'll be like the what was the zombie Skittles? Do you remember the zombie Skittles?
Were they just green, or did they have a special flavor to
No,
them?
they were all the same color. They were like a nasty green color. Most of them tasted like regular Skittles, but like 1 in 10 tasted like kimchi. So it was like just like a little surprise. Um, so yeah, Halloween's great for that too, and you have to buy them and you have to try them because they're never coming back. Like I don't think they ever did zombie Skittles again. It's
Right.
literally just like a
Is the
once in a
idea that one of
lifetime.
these Skittles has died and rotten?
I believe that is the idea. Yeah, that there's
Like, that's
undead
the zombie
Skittles.
Skittle. You
Yeah,
don't want that one. We're
yeah.
sorry we did this to you.
There's some undead Skittles in there, but I think it is just like there's so little exciting that happens in the world. And you can go on vacation, you can like do something new. You can go hang gliding or something like that. But just for the little thrill,
Yeah.
once a week, it's like Agent Dale Cooper. He says you got to buy yourself a present every day. Well, I buy
Mhm.
myself a present every week because I hate myself, and that present is fun food.
An Adams Family Big Mac.
Yeah, so that's a newer thing is that fast food places have really like leaned into this
The
non-standard.
Krabby Patty at Wendy's.
Yeah, this non-standard stuff also. I think Burger King does it the most, probably because they're the most desperate, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
That seems right.
they had the spicy menu in the summer, and that was great. The spicy Sprite. Oh, and spicy the weird beverages are my favorite ones. Those are always like the most like fun and satisfying and like
Yeah.
it almost feels like you're getting away with something a little bit sometimes too. Movie theaters have a lot of great weird flavors as well, like the
Or like
chimichanga.
when Mountain Dew does their mystery flavors every
Yes,
year
I
now.
have a whole case of the mystery flavor. No idea what it is, but it's pretty good.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. You don't need to know.
It doesn't matter. I don't think you can win anything or anything like that by guessing it. But yeah, so this week I went and got the Adams Family meal, which I haven't even seen advertised really anywhere. Have you seen?
I mean, is Wednesday season 2 coming out or something? Or like why
No,
is
it's
this
really
happening?
confusing because the graphics they use on the box are also for the newer cartoon movie Adams Family,
But like from
which
like
doesn't
2019?
yeah, which doesn't have a movie coming out or anything like that. So it's like somebody went into the Burger King warehouse and they found a bunch of old crowns and packaging from that movie or something, and then they were like, I guess we could use these. But so I had the Burger King meal. It's a purple Whopper. So that's another thing. Burger King every year will for Halloween they'll do a Whopper that's bun is a different color. Usually it's black. So they've done black and green and white, I think. And this year the purple Wednesday Whopper. So I went and got one. My Whopper was not purple.
Wow.
My friends' Whoppers were all purple and mine wasn't. And I literally did like a double take when I unwrapped it because I'd been
Did
talking
you order
about it.
wrong?
No,
Like,
the sticker on the Whopper says Wednesday Whopper. I double checked.
Maybe that's when they made it.
I ordered. That could be, yeah. It was a couple days old at that point.
Yeah, it's an aged one.
But it's the Wednesday Whopper, purple Whopper, Things rings, which are onion rings, Gomez's churro fries with chocolate dipping sauce.
His famous churro fries.
That's the funnest thing for me is the way that they name these things. So Gomez's churro fries was what really made me fall in love with the concept of the Addams Family meal.
Lurch's frozen Coke.
Well, it's Morticia's chocolate shake. So
okay.
She doesn't really get like a fun name or anything like that. And it was great. The churro fries were the best part, I think, with the chocolate dipping sauce. The shake was just a chocolate shake, but it kind of had like malted crumbles on top of it. And I love it.
Okay, I was going to say, they got to do something different than the thing they normally have.
Yeah, it was like purple chocolate malted crumbles. And those are really good. But my burger wasn't purple. So,
which is a failure of the system, I think. Like they really, you order a Wednesday burger. Clearly, the main reason you want that is for the purple bun.
So I didn't really experience the Addams Family meal, and I would have gone up and told them, "Hey, give me a purple bun." But the line was like out the door. It was crazy.
Everyone wants those purple buns.
I haven't been inside of a fast food place in forever, but there was tons of people in there. I was blown away. I didn't think anybody went to Burger King.
I mean, the only times I've been to Burger King in the past few years, I am usually the only person there. Or it's like a drive-through of like two. Like it's never been busy whenever I've gone. So that also surprises me.
I've tried to go, like, you do the thing where you're like, oh, the line's so long, I'll just park and go inside. 9 times out of 10 these days, it's locked. You can't actually go inside anymore.
Which is always bizarre because, like, you see the people in there looking at you, and you're like trying to open the door, and they just don't even do anything. They just look at you like, "What do you think is happening here?" Clearly, we locked that door for a reason.
Can you peel me off one taco, please?
I had Taco Bell the other day. I went there, go to walk in. There's like 20 people inside the restaurant eating, hanging out, ordering food, and the door's just locked.
What were they doing in there? Was it an illusion?
No, one of them let me in, and I'm like, I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but you did.
You got into a little secret club.
Well, I had placed a mobile order for pickup in the restaurant, so I had to get in.
What the hell? Yeah, Taco Bell's the hardest. It's like Taco Bell is like the most exclusive restaurant.
I drive
in the
to
country.
a further Taco Bell because the Taco Bell nearest my house takes 40 minutes if you go through the drive-thru.
Yeah, there's
That's not even an exaggeration.
There's 3 Taco Bells in Missoula.
Oh,
and
this is the secret 4th Taco Bell that I go to.
There's a 4th one?
It's technically not in Missoula.
Oh, is it at the Y?
It's in Y.
Okay. So
it's out by the truck stops.
Matt has to go out of town to get his Taco Bell, which is totally fair. You basically do have to. But yeah, the adult Happy Meals, fun flavors.
Yeah. So I am right there with you on this. I am the person who, at a Starbucks or wherever, I don't have like a regular order usually.
Yes.
I go in, I see the sign. What are they promoting? What's their new seasonal thing?
I do that
I go,
too,
give me that.
Yep.
And my wife thinks I'm nuts because
at the Starbucks at Target, I always am like, berry refresher, would love to have it. Got little bubble balls in it, please.
Which is like hilarious as, you are a design man. I'm a marketing guy. You would think maybe we wouldn't fall for these things as the people who are creating these kinds of things, but maybe we're the prime candidates.
I don't know if
we respect a good marketing tactic.
I honestly think, okay. So I'm mulling this over. Are we falling for anything? And I was gonna say no. I think we're having fun, but I think we are falling for the marketing towards people who like to have fun.
We are falling for the marketing that says this is fun.
Yeah. And I think
we are falling for the trick of like, they have convinced us that this is fun. Other people are like, I think pickleball's fun. And we're like, I think trying a purple burger is fun.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel exactly the same way. Yes,
But
I think
I
trying a purple
also
burger is fun. And it's also fun to talk about trying the purple burger
right.
until you try the purple burger, and then you get to say, I had the purple burger. I don't get to say that, but other people get to say that. But yeah, I think it is definitely, there are the people who will go to Starbucks and they'll order their same drink, and then they know that there's the people like us who are like, Starbucks? I wouldn't really normally go to Starbucks. But then they know that if they show like the super unicorn drink only for a limited time, you'll be like, this
Yeah.
is so stupid. It's
1
usually
hour only Frappuccino happy hour. Get your unicorn Halloween Beetlejuice Frappuccino. It's like,
Exactly.
all right.
If there was a Beetlejuice Frappuccino, I'd be first in line. And it is like, this is so stupid, definitely enters into my thinking of I have to try it. It always goes.
I bought Ghostbusters donuts yesterday from Krispy Kreme.
Oh, were they very old?
No,
Okay.
I don't know why they're doing. I think everyone else got all the Halloween licenses, like Addams Family and Beetlejuice, and they were like, I guess Ghostbusters is kind of still relevant. But I had a big old Slimer donut that looked very 90s because it was purple frosting with green goo.
And you had the time of your life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's
I
anything
think
wrong with that.
I'm thinking back to when this started for me, and I think I can pinpoint it.
Okay.
I'm in college.
Okay.
I'm downtown Chicago. I'm not making healthy choices about my lunch breaks because I have very minimal time.
Yeah.
But something that was close to my building that I went to school in was a little place called KFC. And they introduced a thing called the Double Down.
Oh, yes. That
which
was
was a
classic
sandwich.
in the genre.
Yeah. It had no bread. It had 2 pieces of chicken.
You don't need bread
as
in
bread.
the 21st century.
But I remember specifically, immediately when they announced that, I was like, I'm getting a Double Down. And the rest of the world was like, why would I ever eat a Double Down?
Yeah.
I remember bringing one to class one time because I was like running late.
Oh, you're a brave man.
And somebody said, like, is that a Double Down? And I was like, yeah, it's a Double Down. So I feel like that like kickstarted this sort of thing for me.
Yeah, I think that probably could be traced as a progenitor of a lot of this stupid, especially the stupid fast food.
Yeah, like when did I feel like now there is an old man yells at cloud element to me with some of this where like this is getting out of hand. Where like when everything tastes like everything else, I have a problem with that. Like sometimes when like candy is flavored like other candies, I'm like, what are you doing here? Like candy corn M&Ms. What are we doing? What is this?
Yeah. Candy corn that is one of those
Oreos,
novelty ones where
I'm keeping an eye on you, Oreos, because you get out of hand sometimes. You get your pistachios, you get your pumpkin spice, but sometimes you do a Sour Patch Kid, and I'm like, what are we doing?
I think Coke flavored Oreo is pretty close to me for like this doesn't really make any sense because you both taste like corn syrup. Like
that's maybe what it is like when it's corn syrup.
This.
When it's corn syrup flavored corn syrup, you're like, okay, you just like mix the vats in a different way than you did last time.
You're both brown goo. I don't need to. I don't need to mix my brown goos. But also, I just got a shout out. The thing that really had sparked it for me in the last couple months, Sprite Chill. If you still have Sprite Chill available in your area, it's Sprite.
I don't think I've had Sprite Chill.
That is cherry flavored Sprite with just a hint of cherry. But it also has a bit of like a menthol in it. So you drink it, and then a little bit later you're breathing and you're like, ooh, I'm feeling quite chilled at the moment.
I think it's a very divisive food device that's been happening recently is this mentholated thing. They've like I know there's an icy cereal that uses it.
Yes, that's no good. This is so subtle that if you didn't know that it was in there, I don't think you would know. Like, I don't think you'd acknowledge it. I think you would just feel extra refreshed. But to know it's in there, you can do a little bit of like breathing in, feel nice. But it's so good. It's probably my favorite. And then there was an icy version of it at AMC for a while.
Yeah.
And that was the ultimate for me. That's the best non-standard flavor I've had. That's the best non-standard flavor I've had, and that is the ultimate tragedy of a non-standard flavor, is that sometimes you'll have one that is better than the normal thing,
Yeah.
and then for the rest of your life, all you'll be able to think is, if only the world was on my level and all Sprite was just Sprite chill. Or like if only we
Yeah.
as a humanity could get together and say, it's okay sometimes to have new flavors of stuff. But people hate to have new flavors of stuff. People hate to have new colors of M&M that still taste the same
Mm,
as every other M&M. We just
yeah.
can't do it.
No, there's like it's a little bit of the main character energy thing, but I think that's also like everyone assumes that today is the peak of humanity and nothing's ever been better.
Yeah.
Or when they were 12, that's the other time everything was better. And so it's
Yeah.
like if anything has changed since or before, they're like, well, clearly it's wrong. Like clearly my
Yeah.
exact experience is what should be the way. But I think like I I have this in a very weird way with like I'll see, a product or like a cleaning product or something like that come out and say like, here is our alternative version, which features healthier
Oh,
materials.
yeah.
It works just as well. It does this, no fake things. We didn't replace our main product with the better product. We're just offering it as an alternative if you want to go that route. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just
Why just do
replace
the
the
other thing?
original dish soap or whatever
Yeah.
with what you are telling me is better in every way?
It's because it's like, I think it's like the Star Wars thing where they know people will get mad. So they stop cuz they're somewhere where not everybody's mad at them and they don't
Yeah,
want any more people to be mad at them.
I guess
Uh
that's true. It's the
And
very,
I think it's
yeah.
less I think it's less like the everything was better when I was 12 thing than it is like Coca-Cola has the factory where they make the stuff and they just have to keep making this stuff, so they can't let us have the fun flavor because that would really just be a headache for them and it would cost a lot of money if they had to
Mm.
make Oreo Coke forever. But yeah, you gotta just have as much fun under capitalism as you possibly can. And
That's what this was really all
if you
about.
feel like you're sticking it to the man by trying a cookies and cream flavored Twix and saying this is better than, I think also part of it is saying like this is better than regular Twix,
I
and
like
that
putting
makes you
that fear
feel
into them,
superior.
or maybe somebody has to have a meeting being like, "Guys, what if we
I
only
love
make
that.
cookies and cream
Yes.
Twix from now on?"
Yeah. Where they take one bite of the new cookie and they're like, "Oh shit, we accidentally made a better cookie. We can't release it. This would change everything." That must happen. Oreo has made an Oreo. This is something that I tweeted about chicken sandwiches, where I don't think there's an upper limit to how good a chicken sandwich could be.
Yeah.
I think you would I think you would die from a chicken sandwich being too delicious before
Mm.
you hit the peak. Like a human could never taste a perfect chicken sandwich. I think they've made an Oreo that a person has eaten and lost their mind because it was so good. But they've made the perfect Oreo, and it is not the Oreo that we're eating.
All right. Well, we put it off long enough, Sam. What did we watch this week?
It's a crisp, clear Saturday morning in September 1987, and once again, you're a little kid in pajamas in the living room watching TV. And how could you complain? You got cereal, you got He Man toys. But something disturbing has been happening on TV lately. There's this show, Muppet Babies. Everybody seems to really love it, but you just never really connected with it. At first, there was just one episode every Saturday morning, so you could just kind of ignore it. Then one day you notice that they started to play two episodes back to back. Unideal, of course, but there's other channels you can change to. This fall, though, they've started to air a full hour and a half of Muppet Babies. Again, you can always change the channel, but this makes you wonder, what am I missing? Is there something fundamentally wrong with me that I can't enjoy this show? What's worse, you never do change the channel. You've always been compelled to watch this show, transfixed in quiet horror as incomprehensible plots and unappealing diaper wearing characters flash across your screen. And this morning, September 19th, is no different. The only thing that is different is the episode title, Muppetland. The babies are invited to Bunsen's birthday at Wacky Land in 2 weeks. Of course, it's in 2 weeks. The babies don't leave the house. And this isn't for a fun reason, like they're part of a government experiment. There's really no reason for it at all. They just don't leave the house. It simply isn't done. The babies are champing at the bit to go to Wacky Land, so Kermit proposes that they use their imaginations to create their own theme park lands. Kermit makes a cowboy land because he doesn't have an original bone in his body. Rolf makes a music land, Fozzie a comedy land, and so on. All the while, Gonzo is trying to get everyone to check out his land, Chicken Land, to no avail. He lashes out very gently by stealing little bits and pieces of other babies' lands, like the track from Skeeter's roller coaster for his own land. When the babies discover that they're missing pieces, they go to confront Gonzo, only to find that his chicken land is actually pretty cool, and they apologize for ignoring him. Then they also realize that they've kind of all been ignoring each other all day to focus on building their own lands, and then vow to help each other finish their theme park cooperatively. I know in my heart that in 2 weeks, for some reason, they will not be allowed to go to Wacky Land. They'll have to stay at their house. Back in 1987, you feel a rush of relief as the friendly, wholesome face of Pee Wee Herman roars onto the screen. Finally, something that makes sense. Next week, September 26, 1987. For some reason, the world feels a bit brighter. You can't explain why, but you feel as if a very important presence, a source of endless joy and light, has been born into the world. Feeling optimistic, you decide once again to watch Muppet Babies. Perhaps on this auspicious day, things will be different. This episode is called Water Babies. Skeeter is leading the babies in a game of treasure hunter when Nanny comes in and interrupts them with some exciting news. She's babysitting some fish. She brings the aquarium into the playroom so the babies can enjoy the fish, which really gets Gonzo going as he reveals that he has lots of hidden fish knowledge. This guy loves fish a lot. We never knew. It would have been fun to have New Zealand, baby New Zealand for this one, huh? That would have been great, actually. I think it would have been okay.
Right, but he would have just thrown the fish.
What if he was very smart as a baby? Like a reverse baby geniuses. Oh no,
Right,
a
then he got-
regular baby geniuses.
Yeah, reverse baby genius is just a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day he threw the fish and it hit him in the head, and ever since then,
It just
hasn't
kinda
been the
got
same.
wedged in there. The babies
Yeah.
then imagine that they're scuba diving around the ocean, peeping out lots of crazy fish. Skeeter keeps trying to get them to go back to their game of treasure hunter, but nobody really wants to play with her anymore. So she starts playing treasure hunter with just Animal, and they explore a sunken ship and a deserted island. But Skeeter is frustrated when there's no treasure to be found. When Annie comes back in, Skeeter expresses her frustration, but it turns out, well, and I guess she kind of like shows what she did find. And it turns out that what Skeeter found was some treasure, actually some treasure, in the form of a bunch of junk that the babies all lost, like one of Rolf's piano keys or the little propeller from Fozzie's hat. She then puts her hand down the couch for some reason and pulls out Nanny's lost pearl necklace. And Nanny's like, wow, good job. You're a treasure hunter after all. Back in 1987, as the credits fade out, you see your own reflection in the black television screen. You look depleted. The show has taken something essential from you, and you'll never get it back. Next week, October 3rd, 1987. It's the month of Halloween, a great time to reflect on the horrors of the world, both profound and subtle. And one of the most subtle is Muppet Babies. Less a TV show and more a mental contagion, infecting your friends and family, yet leaving you untouched. It would almost be better to be swept up in the same hysteria that's claimed them. At least you wouldn't feel so alone. Your mom brings you a Pop-Tart. This week's episode is called The Incredible Shrinking Weirdo. The babies are playing basketball. Inside, of course, because they can't go outside. Animal is the water boy, but he accidentally ends up splashing water all over the rest of the babies. Nanny takes their wet jerseys, and Gonzo stands next to the heater to dry off, noticing as he does that the leather strap on Skeeter's whistle has shrunk in the heat. Cool way to begin an episode. When Nanny brings back the jerseys, Gonzo puts his on and notices that it's huge. He begins to think that he's shrinking, just like the leather strap. And pretty soon, the other babies are also convinced that he's shrinking. They try to make him feel better by telling him all the fun things he can do when he's tiny, but ultimately he sulks off to hide, leaving the rest of the babies to think that Gonzo has shrunk so much that he vanished. Then they all splash themselves with water and stand by the heater too, imagining that they shrink into the carpet fibers where they go on a little adventure to find Gonzo. Nanny comes back in the midst of all this and notices that Gonzo is wearing Fozzie's jersey and vice versa. So he switches them, and the episode mercifully ends. Your sister sits beside you, cackling with joy. You envy her. Elsewhere in 1987 during this time, Fatal Attraction and Hellraiser are released in the theaters. Full House debuts on ABC. Kirstie Alley joins the cast of Cheers in its 6th season, and the pilot episode of Star Trek The Next Generation airs. I can't believe Kirstie Alley joined in the 6th season of Cheers and is a beloved character from Cheers.
Is
Isn't
she
that
beloved?
wild? Well, she's like, you know about her at least. Like, could you think of a show? There's probably not that many shows nowadays where somebody joins in the 6th season and it's like, wow, great addition to the show. That's usually
Well, that's what
Cousin
I'm
Oliver
not sure.
territory.
Yeah. Did people think that at the time? Did they like Rebecca?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, Sam and Diane is a classic
Right.
thing.
You need Diane.
But I think people like Rebecca too. I think people like both of them.
The first thing that came up when I Googled Rebecca Cheers is a Reddit thread that says, I hate everything about Rebecca.
Oh, okay. Well,
that might be an outlier, but
yeah.
I have only, I think, ever watched pre-Rebecca Cheers. So I don't know that I can vouch for whether or not.
I feel like I've only mostly watched post Rebecca Cheers. And I've thought, when Diane's there, I think, where's Rebecca? I think Diane's kind of mean. And I know Rebecca is mean, like, but she's like...
Well, but everyone's mean to Diane.
Well, yeah, but she's a snob. I'm more of a slob like her than a snob like her, you know?
Well, elsewhere in the world of Muppets around this time, we talked about these a little bit previously, but obviously, Fraggle Rock, the animated series, is also airing. It's airing over on NBC.
Channel, though, yeah.
And also during this time, on September 25th, Jim films his Jim Henson Hour pitch reel at the Carriage House in New York. But getting into Muppet Babies, Jeffrey Scott is out. We got some new writers on the team. We've got the team of Cindy McKay and Larry Swerdlove. They're going to write 24 episodes of Muppet Babies total.
Mm-hmm.
They are a husband and wife duo who I don't believe were married at the time, but are married now.
Fell in love over Muppet Babies.
They also wrote of Mice and Muppets from the end of last season.
Okay.
And they wrote a bunch of 90s cartoons. And Larry would go on to write and direct the 1993 movie The Skateboard Kid, which is like sort of an infamously bad 90s movie.
Oh, you've heard of it?
I have, but only because of it being like a reference that people mock.
Okay.
So I can't actually say the movie is bad. I will just say it has been mocked as bad enough for me to know it from that.
Okay.
It stars, the dad is played by Timothy Busfield, who plays Danny Kincannon on The West Wing. So I'm vaguely interested.
Oh, yeah, I would love to watch this. I'll pick it for my next birthday. I'm sure I'll remember.
Yeah. And his wife, Cindy McKay, it seems like now spends her time writing children's books.
Man, writing episodes of kids shows in the 80s was probably like a plum gig. You think? Because you could write like an episode of Care Bears, and then you could just like find and replace all the names for Baby Gonzo and be like,
yeah,
right.
That's true. It's like, oh yeah, this Care Bear thinks it's shrinking this week. I just thought of that off the top of the dome. The other writing duo that we get to meet in this batch of episodes is the team that wrote Water Babies. It's Barbara Beck and Stephen Robertson, who only write this one episode of Muppet Babies together. Stephen Robertson also wrote on Dennis the Menace and the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh.
But Barbara Beck was a film researcher for clip footage on the second and third seasons of Muppet Babies, and then went on to work as a post-production supervisor at Disney on shows like DuckTales and Tailspin, and most recently worked on the Hulu reboot of Animaniacs. So I don't know how like this one TV writer and the film researcher of Muppet Babies team up to write a script for Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting that they only write one.
I wonder if it was like, I think there's different credits for this kind of thing, but I wonder if they're like having a conversation and she was like, it'd be cool if there was an aquarium in an episode.
It's like, yeah. I'm not going to use that at all, though. What if they scuba dive instead?
Yes, the aquarium will feature in 10 seconds of the episode.
It really feels like it's gonna feature, like, the mouse or the parrot. Like, every
Yeah.
time Nanny's watching something for somebody, it's an
Right.
important part of the plot, and
Yeah.
in this, it's really just, a segue for Gonzo to talk about water.
If a fish runs away, though, the fish ain't getting very far. That's the problem.
It's like, Robin the Tadpole when he was trying to escape. You're like,
Yes.
I got bad news for you, buddy.
He's
This is
a
gonna go really poorly."
animal. You're gonna kill him.
But yeah, as Sam mentioned, Muppet Babies expanded to 90 minutes for this season, and that is because they were taking up the spot that would have been filled by Garbage Pail Kids, which had
Oh,
been
too hot
pulled.
for TV.
Yes. Before the season began, they pulled it because groups like Action for Children's Television and the American Family Association were like, what the fuck? Which,
There's
yeah,
a
if you put Garbage Pail Kids next to Muppet Babies, that would,
Oh, I'm
I
looking at the group shot
understand.
of the the Garbage Pail Kids. It's great. One of them's melting. Yeah, there's a better universe out there where Garbage Pail Kids got to be on TV.
I just can't believe it got far enough for someone to think it was a good idea.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. Kids love weird, creepy growth. Like, you walk down the toy aisle these days, 1 out of every 4 toys is like boogers and poop. Like, literally just says poop. And you're like, what could that be? I don't know, but I guess a kid would know. And, you got to have something to balance out the Care Bears. You got to have your Garbage Pail Kids, don't you?
Right, but I think the world needs that balance.
Yeah.
Does Saturday morning TV need that balance?
It's a post Pee Wee world, so I think they're testing out the limits.
I feel like a Garbage Pail Kids show lives on Adult Swim,
Yeah,
not
I
on
think you
Saturday
might be
morning
right.
CBS.
It is like, what kind of adventures would they get into?
Gross ones.
Yeah, gross ones, I guess. But you're making, you have a show about Dracula and like Frankenstein being friends. How is that much different than Garbage Pail Kids?
They're too gross.
I think what we're learning is that you're just grossed out by the Garbage Pail Kids.
That is 100% true. They're not my thing. Well, pivoting to the actual wholesome Saturday morning cartoon that we watched, it's important to keep an eye out for the next batch of episodes that we're going to watch, because from the first season through the 5th episode of the 4th season, this is when the animation is done by Toei Animation.
So this
But
is
they
a new
raised the-
company, right?
So this is not yet. The 5th episode of the 4th season is when it switches.
Okay.
So apparently these episodes are original Animation House. And then mid-season, which should be in the next batch we watch. Obviously, I don't know about the production order of things.
Mm-hmm.
But if they went in the same order, in the next batch, there will be a shift to a new, cheaper Animation House. So we might notice, I don't know if we notice at all, but there will be a shift in who is animating the show.
Okay, because I thought Gonzo looked pretty weird in the Incredible Shrinking Gonzo. There's moments where he's too fuzzy or something.
There's some moments where they look a little off, but we've also had that since the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Where there's just like extremely weird character models. But yeah, the first episode we watched was from September 19th, Muppetland, written by Sidney McKay and Larry Swerdlove. Not Tales from Muppetland, like the Hey Cinderella, Frog Prince, Musicians of Bremen.
Oh yeah, I forgot
things.
Muppetland was like what they used to call where the Muppets came from or whatever.
Yeah, and not actually a phrase they say at all in this entire thing.
No.
Like, none of their fictional lands are called Muppetland.
When they refer to themselves as Muppets, it kind of freaks me out in this show. It doesn't freak me out when a puppet refers to itself as a Muppet.
Right.
But when these little cartoon guys, like the times that they've said, we're the Muppet Babies. What do you mean by that?
Especially as we've talked about, when they say babies, is like, oh, so you're not the Muppets.
Yes.
You are the Muppet Babies.
You're something different.
I will say, Sam.
Yeah.
I liked this episode.
Okay. This one wasn't the worst of the 3 of them for sure. I think this one was a fine watch. I think it just bothers me so much, and even though I know it's going to happen, that they don't go to the place.
Yeah.
That's
you got to give up that dream, Sam. That's never going to happen.
I know. But it could be fun if they went to a place.
Why go anywhere when you have your imagination?
imagination. I know you don't have to have an expensive trip to Disneyland, kids. Just imagine
Please
you're
don't
at
request that.
Disneyland, and that's just as good as being at Disneyland.
I think something this batch does, and I'm coming into this obviously knowing that the writer has changed, and so I'm probably looking for differences.
Yeah.
But I think something this batch does, in contrast to something that we talked about with some of the previous episodes, is this does a really good job of showing what they're imagining, how they're playing, what they're doing. And there's been times where we've complained about the fact that suddenly they're just on Mount Everest and we don't understand what they're doing. They come out of it and also they're just in the middle of the nursery and it's like, cool. So you're just standing in the middle of the room going, we're on a mountain. Whereas in this, we get to see them in their big cardboard fort. We get to see them going around playing basketball. And so it's like seeing that imagination play out better is nice. I also like
That's a good point.
that in this episode specifically, when they're playing the game of telephone and everyone is saying their off the wall option, we get to see each kid's different imagination.
I did like the intro. I think this was as like a season premiere, especially. This is a good reintroduction to everybody except Fozzie and Rolf, who I don't think get to do anything fun, but everybody else.
Well, because Rolf and Fozzie kick it off. So Rolf's the first one who's just like, Nanny wears green striped socks.
Yeah.
And it ends up with Skeeter saying, Marcia has bees and was stung.
Yeah, but along the way, there's General McCormick. Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
General McCormick. Piggy just imagines herself as a telephone operator, which is fine. That's a good career, but
not these days, really.
Not an existing career, I would imagine, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. But then interrupting their game, the real phone rings as Kermit yells, hey, it's the real phone. And then says, I've never had a real telephone call before.
Yeah, I wrote
because his parents never called to check on him.
That's an odd, that was an odd thing to say. Their lives are very empty. Yeah, because they hear the real phone, and that is just a little bit of excitement in an otherwise completely blank existence, and they all crowd against the door and they're like, what is it? Who could it possibly be?
Someone from the outside world is acknowledging our existence.
Kids are probably curious about that kind of thing. It's just sad for in a cartoon kids to be curious about that kind of thing when they could do anything they wanted to. It also made me sad. So Kermit gets a phone call, never had a phone call before, and it's Bunsen.
Yeah.
Did Bunsen just invite Kermit and Kermit accidentally invited everybody else? Why didn't Bunsen call and say, hey, Nanny, you're all invited?
Or why did he specifically want to talk to Kermit? Is he just like, you're clearly the smartest.
Yeah,
you're the leader of the group. So,
right.
But yeah, Bunsen's parents could have asked Nanny. That's usually probably how that should go.
That would be more normal, not two babies talking on the phone to each other.
Yeah. Hey, there's a baby on the phone for you, baby. They want to know if you want to go to Disneyland. So I guess that's up to you. You decide.
And then also, it kind of just rubs in when he says, I've never had a phone call before, that the rest of them still ain't ever had a phone call.
Yeah, I'm going to take all of your calls from now on, guys. So Fozzie, if you ever get a call, I got you. But they do ask Nanny, can we go to Wacky World in 2 weeks? And she says, I don't see why not.
I haven't thought of a reason to not let you go yet, but I will.
I got 2 weeks to think of something.
Mark my words. Sorry, kids.
It's too nice out. The weather's too nice, actually. It's too hot and sunny. You shouldn't go outside.
Be like, oh, I dropped a cake, so we can't go to Wackland. I have to clean up the cake. Oh, man.
Well, Kermit says maybe we don't have to wait 2 weeks. We can build our own Wacky World. Ralph proposes Music Land.
Of course he does.
He's got nothing else,
Ralph.
Sam. He's got one personality trait. And it's, please, dear God, let me sing a song.
It's not even like, my dad used to get really annoyed with me when I would say, I have science class, because he'd be like, no, you have chemistry class or you have physics class, because he's an engineer and that's the kind of thing he gets annoyed about. Or I'd be like, I have math class, and he'd be like, no, you have algebra class, you have whatever class. Ralph has the same problem though. Just say a type of music, Ralph. You can't just say music.
Yeah, I'm making Jazz Land.
Yeah,
all right.
That would be awesome. I think also a place that exists, maybe. I think there is a Jazz Land. I think there used to be like a Six Flags that was called Jazz Land in New Orleans or something like that.
I was going to say it has to be in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Or they ship it
Or
off to
Utah.
Utah. Six Flags New Orleans first opened as Jazzland in 2000.
I remember people talking
Wow.
about Jazzland when I
That
was.
sounded like something you made up, but you're 100% right.
Well, sometimes every once in a blue moon.
Gonzo suggests an amazing land for chickens, while Kermit says a town out of the Old West, which is not the most imaginative, since
Which is
he
something
literally...
they already mentioned that being something at Wacky World.
Yeah, they are listing off all the things from Wacky World, and he says they have a cowboy land. And so now when he has, to come up with his own idea, he says, what about an Old West town?
Yeah, and I think Piggy's talking to him, and I feel like you can feel her be like, oh,
Yeah,
that's the
really.
idea you had?
Huh. Well, we learned
Okay.
Rolf is great with a gun in this episode.
That was odd. We didn't need to know that, I suppose. Yeah.
He and Fozzie are at the target shooting range.
Though it does make sense because I could see Rolf living in New York and carrying a gun as an adult. Like when he used to walk to the...
Jimmy Dean got me this gun.
Yeah, when he used to walk to the studio to film the Jimmy Dean show, Jimmy gave him a gun. Was meant to maybe be ornamental or more of a token, but...
Hey, Ralph, here's a 45 for you.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I
If
feel like
Jim
Ralph on
does
Jimmy Dean had a gun.
Oh, I bet he did too.
Are you saying Jim Henson had a gun?
I thought you were going to say I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of thing happened to Jim. And I was like, yeah, of course. Somebody gave Jim a trick shooting gun. I'm so sure of it.
But I'm also pretty sure that Rolf brandished a weapon at some point on the Jimmy Dean show.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But Rolf...
He probably alluded to like launching nuclear missiles on the Jimmy Dean show.
Yeah, during the Cold War era of the Jimmy Dean show.
Yeah.
Fozzie is terrible as a shooter. Rolf teaches him that all you have to do is just say bang bang, and that makes you a good shooter.
Yeah. Gives you the
we
confidence
get to hear,
you need to take a life.
We just get to hear a lovely Pat Buttram voice congratulate Rolf on a big prize for the little sharpshooter. And then we see Piggy Oakley and Buffalo Frog Kermie try to...
Frog Kermie. Kind of good. I kind of like that one, actually.
To be fair, it sounds better when Piggy says it.
Yeah.
Me just reading it does not sound as nice as it sounded coming out of her mouth.
Yeah,
but
you have to sell the enunciation.
But he's trying to rope Animal in a rodeo, but Animal ends up hog-tying Kermit. And then the wild blue weirdo shows up to steal all the horses. And this is when I wrote, hey, I like this. It's like consistent imagination storytelling. And I feel like this episode is at least... It has like a driving energy to it that feels... compared to the next episode, I think this one has
the next episode
like something going
slog.
on that you can feel like it's leading to something.
Yeah.
Which most Muppet Babies episodes do not have.
That's true. The thing I think that looking back on this batch is it is doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is still not interesting to me. And at least when the previous person was writing every episode, something really weird would happen and you'd be like, what? But I guess a couple times really weird things do happen in these episodes, so it'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very solid, normal episode of Muppet Babies, which is a show that I don't like, even under the best circumstances.
Well, this is when we first get the tease of Gonzo being upset because his friends don't want to hear about his land idea. They just keep moving on to their own thing, including Fozzie's Waka Land, where I laughed, Sam, when Miss Piggy sat on a whoopee cushion.
Oh, yeah, there was a fart sound in this episode.
And the audacity, I think, is what made me laugh more than the fart joke. The fact that Miss Piggy sits down. And then we get to Playland, which is Skeeter's land, where she has the biggest, fastest, scariest rides, like a jungle gym adventure.
Yeah, like a obstacle course.
It's like the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse.
Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, the most boring thing you can do in Disneyland.
Yeah, a very wild one to introduce as your first ride or thing in your biggest, fastest, scariest rides park. It does lead to them swinging from octopus tentacles into a runaway mine car, which lets us see a brief clip of Temple of Doom.
Why there an octopus in the jungle?
It's imagination, Sam.
Couldn't it have been an elephant or something, though?
what are you gonna swing? You got one trunk. You can't swing from trunk
It could
to
have been
trunk.
8 elephants.
Well, you got me there. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Well, Skeeter's track runs out on the minecart because presumably, we don't know this yet, Gonzo has stolen some of her track.
Yeah.
She does find a blue feather, though.
That is interesting. So, does that blue feather come from something else, or is that Gonzo? Does Gonzo
She's
canonically have feathers?
on his head, he does.
Yeah, I know that those are made out of feathers, but I never really thought of them as
Mm.
feathers.
She says this is one of
Yeah,
Gonzo's feathers.
yeah.
So, canonically, they're
At
feathers.
least baby Gonzo
Are they
has
trying to make it more
feathers.
okay that he loves birds? By saying, like,
I was
well,
wondering the same
he's
thing.
pretty much a bird.
We got to make him a little bit less of a creep, but I never considered him to have feathers. I thought he was just covered in strange hair.
Right, like lots of Muppets use ostrich feathers as their hair. That does not mean they all
That they have
have feathers.
Yeah.
Well, Scooter tries to design Future World on his computer, and Animal jumps in using his feet, and surprisingly, just succeeds and makes a great Future World.
Yeah.
And so
Scooter
we get
doesn't be a loser that much anymore. He used to be a loser all the time, but I feel like they kind of took that away from him a little bit.
They also seemed to be. There is one moment in one of these episodes where they're mean to Animal about him being a baby,
Yeah.
but they also seem to be including Animal in a way where he needs just to partner up with somebody. Like somebody's going to take
Yeah.
Animal with them and be responsible for him, which is an
Yeah.
interesting sort of. They're not saying it outright, but they are showing it that oh, come along, Animal, you need supervision.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting too. I guess he introduces that chaos into the situation to lead them in an unexpected direction.
Yeah, but he also in the next one is the one who actually finds all the treasure, and Skeeter
Yeah.
gets all the credit.
But does he find all the treasure, or is it the most sweaty setup for anything that I've ever seen in my life?
But who
To
finds
have
the treasure more,
well,
Skeeter or Animal?
he's walking around with a colander on his back that is covered with construction caulk. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just picking up debris as he crawls around. Is that what's
Yep.
happening?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
He's
he's
just
not.
he's the guy on the beach with the metal detector.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't know he's doing it though. He's like a sticky animal on the beach with a metal detector.
Well, during Scooter and Animal's future time, we get to see clips from the 1936 film Things to Come, which
These
looks
are cool.
super rad.
Looks great. Yeah.
It's a British science fiction film written by H.G. Wells
Oh.
that sets out a future history from 1940 to 2036.
Oh, we gotta hurry.
Yeah, we only got 12 years to get flying cars and stuff. This movie is available on YouTube in really good quality and seems pretty interesting. I have not watched it, but I might check it out. I just didn't have time before recording. But yeah, Scooter and Animal end up chasing an astronaut to the moon before he forgot his cola, which is a interesting twist on that little segment. But they can't take off from the moon afterwards because someone took Scooter's batteries.
So they die on the moon.
I will say, I think the biggest misstep in this episode is that they use the stealing batteries thing twice.
Oh yeah, because they steal batteries out of Rolf's band to come.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I like Gonzo, stealing all this stuff, but I wish it wasn't two of the same thing in a row.
When you're a kid playing with toys, batteries are a vital element. I remember thinking about batteries quite a bit.
Now everything's rechargeable.
Yeah.
Well, this does lead us into Ralph introducing the world-famous Musicland robot band.
Because there's a subplot where nobody will play in Rolf's band. They're just like, no, I'm not going to do that.
That's
done
the theme of
with
this
you.
episode, Sam.
No, they're
no
just
one
sick
has
of-
any time for anyone else. They're all being too selfish.
No, they're just sick of Rolf's music.
That too. You can be both. You can
Yeah,
be selfish
that's
and
right.
not like your friend.
Yeah, that is true.
But we get a Devo-ish 80s song called Imagination Land because Ralph collected a bunch of wind-up and noise-making toys. Yeah, this song kind of slaps.
This song's kind of all right. I agree. It's kind of a good thesis statement for the series.
This is also weird, though. It's like, why didn't you just call this episode Imagination Land?
That would be much better. Yeah.
But we do see people in Imagination Land, the guests of the park, wearing Kermit hats like Mickey ears.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
But the song winds down with sad-sounding toys because someone took my robot's batteries.
You do a really good Baby Rolf voice.
It's just 'cause I'm doing it all the time at home. That's just my go-to
That's your
conversational
normal
tone.
voice. Yeah.
There is a weird thing that feels like a statement about something that I just can't put my finger on. After the batteries go missing, Rolf gets a little sad and someone's like, "Oh no, Rolf, we're so sorry." And he's like, "It doesn't matter. You need real people to have a band anyway." And I don't know if he's just commenting on the fact that his friends wouldn't be on his band, or is
Yeah.
this like a weird electronic music, shade being
Huh.
thrown?
Well, I feel like back then you still really did need a lot of people to be in a band, even if you were
Hmm.
playing electronic music, maybe.
Yeah, it might just be about the friends. It just felt like the way he says it,
Yeah.
it's like an unnecessary line that I'm just like, okay, you could have just moved on. But
Yeah.
it felt like he was saying it with a purpose.
I feel like if you said it now, then you'd be like, hey, you leave Lord alone. She can make her music by herself if she wants to.
But this episode was all leading to something because now Cluckland is finished. And it mostly looks like just roller coaster track weaving around some shit in a hallway. But
In their imagination.
in their imaginations, Gonzo mentions it has the runaway chicken crate, game hens of the Caribbean, and roosters of the Lost Ark.
Predating the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland. Calling their shot there.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was kind of weird that only one of those is kind of really only a thing. I guess
Yeah.
runaway chicken crate could be
Any
Big
roller
Thunder
coaster,
Mountain
I
or something.
suppose. Yeah, something like that.
But the clucking Bronco merry-go-round we see is Kermit's stolen horse,
That would make
and
you puke so hard. It's just
spinning in a circle and rocking.
Yeah.
At this point, though, I was like, you know what? I think the thievery is worth it.
Yeah, because this place looks awesome. He's built
Yeah.
like a nightmare Hieronymus Bosch. Hieronymus Bosch. How do you say that guy's name?
I don't know, but I like that you went in with the confidence.
Well, there's like direct references to the
Mhm.
like the heaven and hell painting he did or whatever with like the egg. They go on like that creepy egg ride. That is an egg on stilts.
Yeah, they go the Cluckland Haunted Hen House,
Yeah.
which really, I guess, is the first Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was
and,
disappointed that no ghosts or anything came out though. They just are kind of in there, and a chicken flies by their head, and that's it.
But the ride ends prematurely because Skeeter steals back her roller coaster track. And so the ride has to just end right there. And this is when we get sort of the crux of the episode where Gonzo reveals that he was trying to ask people if he could borrow their stuff, but no one would listen to him. So he just stole it. Which maybe isn't the best way to go about it, but the lesson is there. And
Yeah.
everyone starts to notice that they all got too excited about their own ideas and they didn't help each other.
This show just doesn't like to make anybody be like directly a bad guy for the most part. With
Right.
some
Yeah, that Gonzo stealing the cupcakes episode, I feel like is the worst.
That's what I was thinking too, where he was being bad, and he knew he was being naughty. Like you could be a bad guy in a kid's show if you know that you're being bad and feel bad about it. But there's like one scene where he does steal something in this episode, and he makes like a little sneaky face and like evil face, and then sneaks away. But he never says anything like "I was stealing because you guys were ignoring me." He just was like, "You weren't helping me, so I had to do what I had to do."
Well, we only see like one or two times of him trying to get someone's attention.
Yeah.
And so
we see
like
Rolf do it more maybe than Gonzo even does.
if they showed him really being left out of things and not getting the help he wants, like I think we could be on his side a little bit more, but it just feels like he's just being a little sneaky Gonzo like he's been in the past.
Right.
But I don't know. I like that the fact that there was like sort of a real lesson being taught here. It felt a little Fraggle Rock-y.
Yeah,
that they were actually,
that's true.
Because they've tried to slip lessons into episodes before, but in ways that made no sense with the episode. Whereas I feel like in this, they actually did it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't impact everybody equally. Because like Kermit has his whole Cowboy Land and everybody participates in that. And like they're all playing with each other for the most part.
Yeah.
Throughout it. So I guess to me it was kind of like not earned, but it's also Muppet Babies. So I guess I don't have to earn everything. But what is the lesson? How would you describe it in not Muppet Babies terms?
Oh, I mean, I think it's the, being too excited about your own ideas that you don't look around and consider anybody else's might also be good, or that you might do better by working together on a project.
Yeah. Maybe the
It's sort of like,
writers were.
you getting assigned to a group project in school and you're like, cool, let's each go our own way and do our own thing
Yeah.
because clearly working together sounds terrible.
Yeah. Or maybe the writers of this episode were making a dig at other writers in the writers' room. They were like, I have funny ideas too. See my great episode of Muppet Babies?
We're going to get married to prove that we're such good collaborators.
Yeah.
But yeah, the episode sort of wraps up after the lesson as the kids want to show Nanny all the worlds they built. And they take her back into the nursery where they find Animal in an indoor sandbox
Oh, yeah.
making a mess. And for the life of me, I don't know what he says, but he just calls his world something land.
I heard Foodland, but I went back and listened to it several times too.
Foodland was the first one I wrote down. I wrote down Foodland, Goopland, Goodland. Somebody in our Discord suggested Dirtland. And now that I've heard that, I can't unhear that.
He is in a sandbox throwing sand around. Not
right.
food.
He definitely doesn't say Sandland.
No, it's not sand.
Or Mudland. So it's something. The quality on these clips is quite bad. So
Yeah.
it's hard to understand him. But the episode ends on an unintelligible sentence.
The times when they can't go outside really stretches credulity to me is when it shows a sandbox inside.
Yes.
Something only truly a madman would do.
Also something that wasn't there 2 minutes ago and Animal was able to
in the middle
make
of the
happen.
room. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the go bye-bye in this episode is Animal walking up to Cleanland, where giant cleaning products are mad at Animal because he's so messy, and they chase him out of the park.
Ooh, fucking weird.
I liked that one. Animal getting comeuppance, I feel doesn't happen very often in the go bye-byes. Usually he's the one terrorizing Gonzo.
He deserves it.
Gonzo does or Animal does?
Animal does.
Yes.
He's had free reign too long.
Well, the second episode we watched was Water Babies from September 26th, 1987, from Barbara Beck and Stephen Robertson, who really did not try with that title.
No, and it's like a reference to something, isn't it? The Water Babies, a fairy tale for a land baby.
Oh.
A book by Charles Kingsley. I've heard of this before. It's a...
Oh, okay. I'll give him a little bit more credit then. I thought they were really just that's the Muppet Babies in water. So we got Muppet Water or Water Babies. Well, the kids are playing Treasure Hunter in a giant cardboard box fort, which I was immediately jealous of.
Oh, yeah, that looked fun as hell. That is another case where they are doing a much better job showing, that they're actually doing something.
Yeah, Skeeter's leading an expedition, but no one seems to trust her to do a great job leading for some reason.
They have a weird vibe towards Skeeter in this episode, basically.
Maybe it's because she's always in the authority position, whether she's a cop or in the next episode she's the ref when they play basketball.
Oh, yeah. A weird slot for her to fill, which would usually be a Scooter thing, I think. Because he would know
and also,
all the rules and stuff.
Your most athletic Muppet baby is the ref in your game of basketball?
Maybe whoever has Skeeter on their team would win automatically. So,
that's a good point. She's too good.
She's got to sit out.
Well, Nanny pulls the top off one of the boxes, putting an end to their treasure hunt.
Yeah. To say, hey, I have some fish. Does she carry in an entire full aquarium also?
She does. No sloshing. Just very easily carries in a 20-gallon tank.
That would weigh hundreds of pounds.
I mean, it would be pretty hefty. She wouldn't carry it in nearly as easily as she acts like she does in this.
How heavy is a full 20-gallon tank? It would be 225 pounds.
Maybe it wasn't a 20-gallon tank. Maybe it was a 12-gallon.
Okay.
But still,
I think that
heavy.
Would still be,
Yeah, well, 12's pretty big too. 10-gallon tank, maybe? I don't know anything about fish, Sam, is what I'm learning.
You don't have to know anything about fish. You got to know about water. Water's heavy, man.
I think 10-gallon tank looks about right.
Okay.
How heavy is a full 10-gallon fish tank? AI says around 75 to 100 pounds. So she's carrying in 100-pound fish tank.
Saltwateraquarium.com says 111 pounds.
Yeah, that definitely, unless Nanny is ripped under that sweater, she easily carries in a full 10-gallon fish tank.
Yeah, I mean, she's hypothetically an old lady. guess. Or no, I don't know. I guess we've seen the back of her head, and maybe she doesn't look that old.
I don't know
It's
if we
hard to
have seen the
tell.
back of her head, have
No,
we?
we've seen her back of her head in a hat. So I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
So wearing like a motorcycle helmet. But if she was, 30 years beforehand working at a diner,
Yeah,
she's not 30.
she's not a spring chicken. You know?
I couldn't do it probably.
No, gosh, I definitely couldn't do it. I would spill it everywhere and kill all the fish.
Yeah, the fish are not having a good time if you're trying to hand carry a full
Yeah.
100-pound aquarium.
So she's watching these fish for her friends because all her friends trick her into watching all their weird pets.
Mm-hmm. If you get that reputation, you're gonna become the
That's
weird
true.
pet lady.
She is always watching 8 weird pets. So
Yeah, she's got a dog, a bear, a pig, a frog. Like,
your life's
obviously,
a nightmare anyway, Nanny.
yeah.
Take care of my
Here's
bird.
a couple more fish. What's the big deal? Calm down. Well, after Nanny leaves the kids alone with the aquarium, all the kids are immediately much more interested in the fish than in searching for treasure with Skeeter. So we are introduced to Jacques Gonzo, who wants to explore the underwater world.
He's just been waiting to whip out this impression. He's been waiting to reveal. It's not even, some of it's like, this is a silly fish. Some of it is just like, I know a lot about fish.
He talks about real fish, like in a way that he's very knowledgeable. And
Yeah.
I think he becomes the best version of himself he's ever been.
I totally agree with you. He's found something he's passionate about, which is more practical than wanting to have sex with chickens. And yeah, he could be a marine biologist. He's clearly got a spark for it.
Something else I noticed in this is his confidence pays off because both Piggy and Skeeter flirt back with Gonzo in this episode.
Damn, dude. You're right. This is a big episode.
Piggy flirts with Jacques.
Okay.
And then at the end, Skeeter and Jacques have a moment where they're going to like go look at the aquarium together.
Yeah.
And it's a little flirty.
And it's a little cute little date thing.
Yeah.
Yep, you're
so
right.
This is just what, like, this is what Gonzo has been needing to do all along, is
Have
just
a
be
fake,
French.
Horrible French accent and know a lot about fish. Well, yeah, I don't know. Jacques Cousteau, he does have something undefinably interesting about him.
One of the things that ends up being super consequential to this episode that Gonzo points out is a decorator crab, which is a crab that decorates its back with like coral looking things so that it can hide amongst the rest of the ocean.
Yeah. An animal is very fascinated by this. A lot of people
Yeah, he's
finding
like,
their passions in this episode.
Of course, Rolf says, "Hey, look, those must be piano fish."
Shut the fuck up, Ralph.
This is a less good song.
Those must
called
be piano fish.
There's a fish that looks a lot like me, even though not a single fish looks like a Muppet in this.
And they look like goats and all kinds of other stuff. Why?
Yeah, this is when we get the weird, non-realistic fish.
Yeah, why couldn't they meet a fish with a little Gonzo nose and a fish with a little piggy nose?
People wanted to draw a weird fish, and they were like, "Can you make a song about weird fish? I want to draw a teapot fish."
Yeah,
like, all
or
right.
the mirror fish. Those mirror fish were scary.
That's the only time when they are saying the line, "There's a fish that looks a lot like me."
Yeah.
And they show the mirror fish where they show their faces. And I'm like, that's not what that is, though.
And
that's just you.
Yes. There's such a much more direct way to do it. And that is to have a fish with Gonzo's nose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you got to do.
Just have a bunch of fish that look like all the different Muppets.
Instead, we'll invent a fish whose mouth is a mirror that you look into. No.
Well, they head towards a big castle in the distance where Skeeter wants to find some treasure because she's still stuck on this idea of being a treasure hunter. Even though everyone else is getting distracted by the scuba diving.
Yeah. Even though that's kind of a boring game. I think treasure hunting underwater is a more fun game.
Which I think they all realize by the end, but in this moment,
true.
Skeeter, I think, is just mad at not getting her way.
Yeah.
So they run into a giant octopus, which just turns out to be a normal octopus behind a magnifying glass.
Cool.
And at this point, 13 minutes in, this episode feels like it's spinning its wheels a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, unlike the last episode, driving this episode forward through its plot.
No, it's kind of supposed to be Skeeter mad about them not playing with her, but it's so iffy, so sweaty that it does. It's just like, and this next part's so weird.
Well, yeah, so it's sort of It feels like, if you're not looking at the time remaining, that the
Yeah.
episode is wrapping up because
Right.
they finished their water adventure. Skeeter is still bummed because she doesn't think she'll ever be a great explorer. Her friends all gather around her to describe all the great things she found, and Piggy mentions randomly that she found a cruise ship, which she had not found. But this leads us to an imagination segment on a cruise ship for some reason, and Piggy tries to make a point because Skeeter's like, what are we doing here? We need to be finding treasure, all this stuff. It's not special enough. And Piggy says, having fun is special, Skeeter. So chill the fuck out.
But also, that's all imaginary too, which I
Well,
just
and
can't
at
get
this
out of my
point,
head.
I thought we were done. I
Yeah.
thought we were wrapping up. I thought the lesson was going to be chill the fuck out. But then Skeeter breaks out the metal detector. And then all of a sudden, the kids are surfing.
Yeah.
And then I look, and there's still 5 minutes left of this episode.
The weird part to me though is when they're underwater and Skeeter's looking for stuff and Animal scuttles by with his little shell on and she takes
Mhm.
out construction caulk. That's so
Yes.
weird and squirts it onto his shell. Does that happen for real or does that happen in her imagination? And why does she know what construction caulk is? And why does it work underwater? And why is that the
Why does it
only
work
way they could
underwater? I think is a
think
great question.
why is that the only way they could think to have him getting stuff stuck on his shell the whole rest of the episode?
Yeah, he could have just gone through some like seaweed and got slimy or
He
something.
could have just
Like,
put it on there, and I don't think anybody would have said why. Because we already saw the
no.
crab doing it. The crab didn't
Yeah.
have construction caulk, did it? Did it?
Well, you don't
Maybe
know.
it did. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think it did either.
But after that, they all give credit to Skeeter for finding all the lost stuff. When I'm pretty sure Animal found all that stuff.
There's a
And
joke also that I don't really get where
Hmm.
when they're surfing, Fozzie's on a mattress and he's like, whoa.
yeah,
And Kermit's like, you were supposed to use an air mattress, not a real mattress. Is that like a thing that people do? Or is that just a weird
not
thing?
not that I'm aware of. I guess yeah, it does feel like too many hats on hats because yeah, an air mattress would work better as a raft than a real mattress.
Yeah.
But also, why would you bring an air mattress surfing?
Yeah. None of them are actually surfing. So you could just imagine you brought a surfboard.
Right. Like, why does Kermit get mad at him imagining he's using a mattress to surf on?
Now, there are a lot of Google results for surfing on an air mattress. So maybe it's always been some kind of thing. And somebody wrote this episode who knew too much about surfing and wrote a confusing joke.
Well, in this moment, when Skeeter's down, she does reach into the couch and find Nanny's pearl necklace, which apparently has just been lost for a while.
Forever, for years, who knows? We haven't seen Nanny's neck ever, so we don't know if she's been wearing it or not.
Maybe it's like Piggy, it keeps her head together. She needs that necklace. But they try to insert a lesson in this one like they did in the last episode, where Nanny says, you've been so busy looking for treasures, you didn't see the special things right in front of you.
Okay. It didn't even really show her finding any of that stuff. If it had shown her
No.
being like, what's this weird thing? Looks like a piano key. It's crap. Then we would have something cooking here. But they didn't.
It's also
do
not
that.
super reassuring if you accidentally did a bunch of stuff that made people happy.
Yeah.
Like,
When she
you
puts
can't
her hand
replicate
down-
this experience.
When she finds the pearl necklace, Nanny says, how clever. You found my pearl necklace. That wasn't clever. She just was being weird and put her hand
Yeah.
down the sofa.
Yeah. She could have just as easily found Cheetos or a quarter.
When you know what would be a funner episode? They go
Hmm.
in the sofa and they're like,
Yes.
whoa, there's all kinds of weird stuff dropped in the sofa. And then they're spelunking in a cave, but it's the sofa. And they're finding all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like an old Cheeto. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of a little bit what happens in the next episode.
That's true. That's true.
But this episode wraps up with Gonzo and Skeeter. Now that Skeeter is willing to listen to others, which apparently was also part of the lesson,
Yeah.
Gonzo takes her over to the aquarium, starts using his Jacques Gonzo voice, and for some reason, Kermit turns to the camera and says, "Here we go again."
What? Yeah. This wasn't Gonzo's fault.
I don't know. Like, none of them were annoyed
Yeah. Here, what
about the
goes
Jacques
again?
Gonzo thing,
No.
but it seemed like they were just like resetting the episode back to the beginning, and Gonzo was going to do all of that again, but with Skeeter paying attention.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. But yeah, they
I don't
liked
know.
Jock Gonzo. Everybody loved him. Everybody was
Yeah.
crazy for him.
Maybe they know he's too powerful.
Maybe
Like,
he was like, "Here we go again. Hell
hey.
yeah."
Well, the go bye-bye at the end of this one is Gonzo and Skeeter swimming underwater, and then Animal's just inside of a giant clam, and they go, "What are you doing in there?" And he goes, "Me not know."
I don't know. Great.
Yeah.
Let's just get this one over with.
Yeah, this one is nothing. Like, compared to the cleaning supplies attacking Animal in the last one, this is the
Yeah.
opposite end of the spectrum as far as thoughtfulness.
I need an episode where Skeeter wins. Skeeter
She's too good of a foil.
Yeah, but they're always mean. It's like she just gets crapped on so much. And then she's mean to her brother, but there just needs to be one where like her being good at sports helps them somehow and isn't just like a source of her bragging or something like that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sports, the last episode we watched is from October 3rd, 1987, The Incredible Shrinking Weirdo, also written by the husband and wife duo of Sidney McKay and Larry Swerdlove. The kids are playing basketball, and I had a moment, Sam, where this unlocked a core memory that I am certain I have seen this episode before as a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay. Them playing basketball was familiar.
The uniforms specifically.
Oh, interesting.
Something about the design of the orange and brownish uniforms.
Yeah.
I knew I have seen those before.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. I just the entire episode itself didn't feel that familiar, but the basketball jerseys specifically, I was like, I have witnessed this.
I still haven't had a moment like that, but I know
I've
I
had
will
a
eventually.
couple, but nothing has fully come back to me yet where it's like an entire episode that I remember.
I think the thing I remembered the most was Robin as a tadpole. So I'm pretty sure I must have seen that episode or one of the ones coming up with him in it, which I think there maybe is at least one more.
Right. But I definitely was like, 4 or 5 probably when I was watching Muppet Babies on Disney Channel. So it also is, I don't remember everything from when I was 4 or 5, but just the concept of Muppet Babies existing.
Right.
So I don't know if there'll ever be an episode that I'll fully go, aha, I know what's going to happen next.
What do you think about Kermit Abdul-Jafrog?
I loved Kermit Abdul-Jafrog.
That was a really good one. They are better. The new writers, I feel like, are better at fun names than the old writer was.
They're at least giving it some sauce. I feel like in the past, it would just be like, I think like they say like Piggy Chamberlain, which is along the lines of not trying very hard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
This episode is full of a lot of, I think outdated even for the time references to like some older sports players and basketball players. Like they're referencing Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which I think are a little bit more topical, but I feel like they name a couple other players that I feel like 3-year-olds in 1987 wouldn't necessarily be naming. But I guess it's not too weird for the Muppet Babies.
I could never name any of them, so I wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, it's one of those things where adults are writing a children's show, so they got to bring a little bit of that to it. I went through so much of my life thinking that Wilt Chamberlain was like a British politician. And I don't know who I was thinking of, but then isn't that the name of a British politician, don't you think?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes. Yeah,
Chamberlain does feel kind of British, but very much not a member of Parliament. There is there was a prime minister named Neville Chamberlain.
That's got to be what I was thinking of.
So maybe there was references to the prime minister in the 30s, Neville Chamberlain, and you were like, aha, the basketball man.
That's got to be where I feel pretty certain that I probably put Wilt Chamberlain as the answer on a test or something at some point in my life instead of Neville Chamberlain.
Well, Animal isn't playing basketball correctly. He's tackling, he's getting in the way of his own team, and so they say, Animal, you're too little to play this game. You can be the water boy. It's like what happened to the water boy, but in reverse.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, we don't like you. You got to be the water boy. But, oh, you're actually good at this? Okay, you can play.
Yeah.
Well, Animal the water boy drops all the water all over everyone at the end.
Yeah, he's bad at being a water boy.
I was kind of shocked to see that they were actually wearing the basketball jerseys in real life.
Oh, yeah. That was weird. What are they for? Maybe they're in a youth recreational league or something.
I was like the intramural basketball league or whatever.
Yeah.
But like when they were imagining playing basketball, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then they come out of the imagination and they're all actually
That's a
wearing the
good
same
point.
jerseys they were wearing in the
Yeah,
dream. And I'm like,
that is
oh.
quite strange.
But it turns out this episode's really about the danger of shrinking your clothes.
Yeah.
Because Fozzie asks Nanny if the jerseys will be dry soon, and she mentions having to dry them slowly so they don't shrink. And then Skeeter hangs up her whistle by a conveniently placed heat vent that we've never seen before.
Yep, pretty low heat vent.
A
Pretty
nice,
convenient.
eye level for an adult, but if a kid steps up on a chair, they can reach it kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
No reason a heat vent would ever be there. But she hangs her whistle on a nail next to this heat vent, and Kermit and Gonzo, for some reason, walk over and notice that the
Yeah.
leather strap on Skeeter's whistle is
Why it's
shrinking.
shrunk. We've learned a bit of science today on Muppet Babies. But
I mean, sure.
why couldn't anything else have happened? But why couldn't they have? Here's what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Nanny brings the stuff to the laundry,
Yeah.
and maybe one of like Gonzo gets impatient or something, and he's like, I can't wait for my jersey to dry off. I love my jersey so much, or something. Throws them into the dryer and does shrink them. And then they get them back and they're like, oh, I don't know. Why not shrink the clothes instead of shrink the leather strap on a referee's whistle? Isn't that the weirdest thing you could think of?
Well, you could also, maybe there's something that they hold on to that was shrunk in the past. So they know the dangers of this. Like, they have a little square and they're like, oh, yeah, like what happened to my baby blanket?
Exactly. Yes. What happened to my little shirt? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Gonzo spins out into a moment that I don't necessarily get. He says, if leather straps and shirts can shrink, maybe weirdos can too. And his friends go, what? And he says, yeah, maybe my grandmother was a t-shirt.
Oh, okay. It's just a joke.
Right, but so is it about if his grandma was a t-shirt, he's got genes in him that are part t-shirt, and so he can shrink? Or
Okay.
is it about his grandma shrinking as she got older, as grandmas are wont to do?
What if my grandma, and he knew his grandma, and she got shrunk?
Unless he doesn't know his grandma, because he says maybe my grandma was a t-shirt, which if you've seen your grandma, you probably would assume she isn't a
that
t-shirt.
she's not a t-shirt. I think it must be the first one, but accidentally makes more sense and is funnier as the second one.
Right. Like if he was commenting on
my
the fact that his
assumption.
grandma shrunk later in
Yeah.
life. But I
Yeah,
don't think that's it. I think it's more he's worried that he's part t-shirt.
If he had said maybe my grandma was part t-shirt, that would have been.
That's literally what he says, though.
He does. Maybe she was part t-shirt or was a t-shirt.
Oh, well, he says was a t-shirt.
If
Yes,
she had
that's
said
true.
if he had said part t-shirt, then he could have seen
Yes.
his grandma, known she wasn't a t-shirt, and she could have.
Yes.
Shrunk. You get
The
the best
idea
of
of
all
saying
worlds.
maybe my grandma was a t-shirt does make it sound like he's never seen his grandparents.
Which tracks with what we know from
Yes.
Kermit getting his first phone call ever.
And from Muppets from Space, where Gonzo doesn't know where he's from.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah, if anybody is allowed to be an orphan who's never talked to his family, it is Gonzo. That's not as disturbing as the rest of them. Especially Fozzie, whose mom we know very well. Where did his mom go?
Where's Emily Bear this time? Is she off in Acapulco or something like that, vacationing?
Yeah.
Well, Gonzo says shrinking would be so weird. Everyone else would grow up and I would grow down. And we cut to an uncanny clip from the Muppet Show of adult Kermit with Frank Welker's voice.
That's fucked. I don't like this.
Do you think Jim just said no? Do you think they asked Jim? Do they want some sort of continuity?
Are these clips from the Muppet Show?
Yeah.
Okay, so they have not, because the voice matches up pretty good, but it must just be like him saying that actually in the show or something. Also,
I
they
think
don't
he's
have
just
lips
introducing
that really move that well. So.
No, and I think they're cutting away before anything else could happen.
Yeah,
like It's just Kermit introducing something, and they replace it with like the Great Gonzo jumping on a motorized pogo stick while yodeling Rimsky-Korsakov.
Yeah, why is he imagining his friend nude and fully adult?
He knows what happens as they get older. You're all going to grow up and outgrow your clothes, and that's fine.
Except me, I'm going to stay tiny and keep my put on even more clothes. Yeah, I think Jim didn't say no. I don't think they asked him, and he would have said no if they had, and they knew that. But they're scrappy over there. They got Frank, who doesn't do that bad of an adult Kermit. I know it's like not quite the same voice because he's not quite as baby
Yeah,
talking.
it's just a little off.
Yeah. If he had replaced Jim as the voice of Kermit the Frog,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe people would have been like, okay, odd choice, but okay.
Well, after Gonzo's imagining he's too small to pull off one of his stunts, Nanny comes back surprisingly quickly with the dry basketball jerseys.
Yeah, must be really hot out there. Post-apocalyptic. That's why they can't leave.
Well, she said that it was going to take a long time because
Yeah.
she didn't want to shrink them.
Right.
And then she's back in like 2 minutes.
Sun's hot. She hung them on the line.
So you think she did it outside?
Yeah. Global
Okay.
climate change has struck, though.
The hole in the ozone layer back then was real big, so they
shining right on the Muppet Babies house.
just
Yeah,
held it up like a magnifying glass.
Yeah, we were still using the spray cans with that stuff in them.
Well, Fozzie and Gonzo, spoiler alert, get their shirts swapped because one is 18 and the other one is 81. And so Fozzie's shirt is too small and Gonzo's shirt is really big.
Yeah, but you don't see Fozzie freaking out about it.
No, I think he just assumes he put on a few pounds.
Yeah.
We've all had that experience of going into our closet, wearing our favorite shirt and being like, huh,
it fits so well.
I must have shrunk this in the wash.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. All of my clothes feel like they've shrunk a little bit.
Yeah. I did used to have that experience a lot, but then it turned out, Mom, turn this off. My mom did dry all my clothes too much all the time. And I think it was like just way later when I started doing my own laundry more consistently.
Yeah.
I was like, you've been shrinking all my clothes. This explains a lot.
Would Gonzo and Fozzie be that different in size?
As puppets, yes. As Muppet Babies, I think so. I think,
but like
Fozzie
Gonzo's jersey is like hanging down to the floor.
Not that
it's
much
so
of a
tall.
difference, yeah.
And Fozzie's not twice as tall as Gonzo.
No, Gonzo maybe really is shrinking. This is a problem.
This episode is about mixed messages, which we'll get into. Of, is shrinking good? Is shrinking bad? Is it a problem? Who cares?
A real thing that happens to anyone? No.
Well, this causes Gonzo to imagine himself as a small ant visiting an ant farm. But after that, we get one of my favorite out of context Fozzie says some wild shit moments. Because Kermit says, hey, what's wrong with Gonzo? And Fozzie says, maybe he ate a postage stamp and wants to get emailed to Venezuela. But Fozzie can't pronounce Venezuela. And so he stutters and stumbles through it a few times and then just goes, South America. His friends let out a, what? And he just sadly goes, I didn't say anything.
I did I didn't say it. I didn't say anything better than I like when he's like, sorry.
Yeah. Or when he's just like, what? What did I do?
Yeah.
Please just ignore me. I know I fucked up. I'm sorry. Just walk away.
He's getting more self-aware. He's becoming the Fozzie that we know.
Well, because throughout most of these episodes, I was going to give the writers credit that Fozzie's jokes are funnier than I think they have been in the past. But this one went off the rails, so I'm glad he was able to acknowledge that it went off the rails.
Yeah, as he will in the future. He knows when he's flopping. They finally beat all the confidence out of him.
Yeah, Kermit's actually paying Statler and Waldorf to show up and keep Fozzie in check.
I remember how unfunny this guy was as a baby, so we really have to keep an eye on this.
But I don't want to be the mean one and tell him.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out Gonzo is hanging around in the closet with buckets of sand on his feet to try and stretch him out.
Creepy thing to see, I feel like.
Well, now Gonzo's friends start to think that he might be shrinking because he was standing near the vent after he got wet.
Yeah, Scooter, the smartest one. Oh, maybe he was shrinking. He was dead.
You know what? Humans can shrink, I guess.
Dingus.
So they sing a song for Gonzo called Being Small Isn't Bad at All.
They really got lazy on this song, too. They used all that stock illustration.
Well, yeah, it looks like the Cheers intro.
Yeah.
And this song happens after they try to tell him that maybe it's okay he's getting small because it might even make him cuter.
Yeah, and it can help him go in little holes where dogs have hidden
That
things.
is so fucking weird. Because this song, at first, I'm like, okay, maybe some kids who aren't growing as fast as their friends
Yeah.
might need a song like this, just saying like, hey, it's okay. You can be great without being tall. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's a good song. But the only example they give in this
It-
entire song is when the family pet plays hard to get in some tight place. Small isn't bad at all. Who do they call? The one who can crawl into the smallest space. Like,
Yes. And it feels like the first of like maybe 3 verses where they say nice things that
yes,
you can do when you're
absolutely.
small. But then like the Queen of England shows up and like congratulates Gonzo for being tiny enough to crawl in a dog's hole. And
It
that's
also
the end
went
of the
under a
song.
table, not
Yeah.
a small thing. It's a
Yeah.
big dog that goes under a dinner table, and like a 2-inch tall Gonzo needs to be the one to go in and get the dog out. It's so weird that that's the choice they made.
It rules. It's great.
But I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, clearly we're going to get at least 2 more examples of things you can do while small.
Nah,
Nope,
you
just
can
one.
go in a little dog hole. They probably sat around thinking for a long time, what else can you do when you're really small?
I mean, when you come up with the lyric when the family pet plays hard to get, I'm like, look, that's like a first draft line.
Yeah, that's a little. Don't think about that line too hard.
Well, after the song, they're still trying to cheer him up and saying it might be great because you can travel in our toy trains or planes or boats. And so we cut to Gonzo sailing on a boat in the bathtub where he encounters Moby Duck.
I kind of like that. That was a fun
Moby
one.
Duck?
Moby Duck, yeah.
Yeah.
Then he just fights with Moby Duck forever and ever. Is that right?
Yeah, and we go from this era of the episode where everyone is trying to give Gonzo some confidence, saying, you know what? It's okay. If you shrink down, we'll let you play with our toys, all this stuff. It's okay if you shrink. But after the moment of the Moby Duck, Piggy kicks this off and she's like, man, I would hate to be shrinking. And then everyone else jumps in and is like, yeah, that would suck to shrink, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it.
Out of earshot of Gonzo. Oh, no, they're standing
No,
directly.
because they
They're
say
standing
maybe
directly
he's
around him.
contagious. Maybe we
That's
shouldn't
right.
be near him. And for an episode that really felt like it was about it's okay to be small, suddenly
It
all of
really
his
turns
friends
on
are
a
running
dime.
away from him.
Yeah, that was great.
So Gonzo, of course, gets sad
Runs
and
away,
walks
yeah.
away. I do love though that like he starts walking away and you see him moping in the background and they cut over to a close-up of Fozzie and he goes, where is Gonzo
Yeah,
anyway?
the second he gets out of eyesight, they don't have object permanence yet.
They theorize that maybe Gonzo shrunk so small that they have to get tinier to go find him before he disappears. So they get wet, go stand in front of the heater, and now they're rushing through tufts of carpet.
They really
find
start
Gonzo.
leaning very hard into. If I was a kid and I saw this, they lean so hard into the if you get wet, if anything gets wet, it will shrink.
Yeah.
I would have been so paranoid that anything that got wet would have shrunk after seeing this episode as a kid. Because it basically is just like water is shrinking potion.
You know what wasn't out yet, Sam?
What, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
It's true.
That could be an interesting way to get an idea to watch Muppet Babies, eh?
1989 is when Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I guessed he'd ride a bug last time, and he does indeed ride a bug, doesn't he?
He does. He rides a dragonfly.
Yes.
But mostly the babies are trying to escape from Animal Kong, who's just regular-sized animal who didn't shrink down like the rest of them.
I think he's I think he's still small because he's coming through the carpet fibers.
That's
he's just
true.
Small but bigger than them. He got a little less wet.
We get Buckaroo Gonzai flying in on a dragonfly.
Why do they call him that?
Great question.
Doesn't have anything to do with the character Buckaroo Banzai.
No, but I think it has maybe more to do with like bonsai when it comes to like
dropping stuff. And,
yeah. So maybe they were like bonsai, gonzai, Buckaroo, gonzai. We got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Let's go home.
Make sweet, passionate love, husband and wife. Another successful day.
That's why these episodes are so bad. They're too horny.
The first one was good, though. Maybe that was their meet cute
Yeah.
episode where they were like, we work pretty well together.
The-
Do you want to get dinner tonight? And then by this time, they're like,
The
we ain't
faster
got
we
no
write
time
this
for writing Muppet
episode,
Babies.
the faster we can get home and have sex. I'm so sorry to you two human beings who wrote this episode.
Who are still alive. And there is a chance you could hear this. But hopefully,
we're
I
right.
guess-
Hopefully
yeah,
we're right.
hopefully we're right. And you do enjoy
Hopefully
each
you
other's
hear
company
this
that
and you go,
much.
huh,
They're
know,
on to us.
they got us dead to rights.
Well, Buckaroo Gonzai flies in with a water balloon so that he can soak baby Animal and then use the heat from the dragonfly wings to shrink Animal Kong.
Shut the fuck up. This episode. Go away.
Oh, well then the kids are still like, well, I think Gonzo did actually shrink so much he disappeared because they don't know where he went after this moment. Turns out he was just hiding under the couch. And Nanny points it out and says, hey, come on out. Did you notice your jersey's on inside out? So you're wearing Fozzie's
You're
shirt.
not shrinking. You're normal.
Yeah, and it takes Fozzie an extra moment to realize what that means because he's like, if that's my shirt, where's yours? Obviously, Fozzie's a little slower than the other kids, but he, the episode just ends with everyone saying, well, we're glad you're not shrinking. And then Fozzie falls into a drawer and Nanny goes, oh, Fozzie.
And the episode cuts her off almost mid-line.
Yeah, it felt like we almost had a message in the middle there about being okay to be small. And in the last 5-10 minutes, they just bailed on that. And they're like, I don't know, let's go play in the carpet, I guess.
Yeah, and that could have been, this is something that does happen to this show a lot that doesn't happen to Fraggle Rock or even the cartoon Fraggle Rock sometimes as much, where they're just so dangerously close to having a lesson. And they must know it too. But
well, I think for me, it's like you have that happen in the middle episode, the Water Babies, where you're like, yeah, you kind of got there, but not really.
yeah.
And in this one, they outright state the lesson and then bail on it. It's like,
yeah.
that's nothing. We don't want to go down that route anymore.
Yeah. And immediately what if he makes us sick and we get tiny too? Not helpful for any short kids out there.
Yeah, I was just lying to make him feel better, but I don't actually want this to happen to me.
Yeah.
Well, the go-bye-bye to end that episode is Animal attaching an air pump to Gonzo's nose and inflating him into a giant balloon Gonzo until they both float away.
Yeah, and this is not where Dig Dug got the idea, because that game came out in 1982.
But that does it for the first batch of Muppet Babies Season 4 episodes, Sam.
I hate it.
Are we going to speed up how fast we're watching it? Are we
I
going
don't
to
think
stick
so.
with 3
As
episodes?
we were talking about these, I was like, I can't talk about 4 of these every week. I'll be too sad.
Yeah. Well, we only have
1, 2,
15
3.
episodes in this season.
Okay, we'll be fine. We'll be
So-
fine. I'll be brave.
I think yeah. Oh, sorry, I was wrong. It's 18.
No, okay, that's fine. That's only one more entire episode and week of my life.
I think the biggest bummer is going to be that the way they aired these is going to be unpleasant for us soon.
Because it's a big block of them, or what?
The season 4, episode 18, aired in January 1988. That year, the Muppets will put out 2 more storyteller episodes. And then we're back into Muppet Babies.
That's all? Jim,
So
get your productivity up.
for us, we're going to have very little time between Muppet Babies seasons that I might try to flesh out with some stuff. But honestly, the only things we have that we can flesh it out with, I think, are worse. So we'll see. I think that, next January is going to be kind of rough for us, I
No.
think, as far as we're going to end Muppet Babies season 4, watch a few weird things, and then start watching Muppet Babies season 5 very
January's
quickly
the
thereafter.
worst time for things to be rough. It's so cloudy out.
Well, I can only do so much about that.
Yeah,
Just
this
remember
is all
that-
your fault in the first place.
Later this year, we get to watch a Muppet Family Christmas.
Okay, that's fun.
That's something fun.
During Christmas time too, right?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
actually appropriately timed.
Okay. I forgive you. I can't stay mad at you.
I mean, if you did, the podcast wouldn't exist.
It could. We could just hate each other.
I don't think that's a great dynamic.
Well, I bet the Doughboys hated each other for a few years here and there.
There are some podcasts or shows that go on so long that eventually you're like, "Ugh, I don't think you guys like each other at all."
Or it's just like you've clearly run out of topics on the subject you've chosen to talk about. Not a problem
Yes.
we'll ever have.
Yeah, I don't think Mark Maron's as interested in everyone he talks to these days.
He's talked to everybody.
Yeah.
He's talked to me for crying out loud. He asked
He's
me
gone
who
through
my
all his
guys
friends.
were. I said my guys were, hey, you know my friend Matt? He said, yeah, I talked to him last week. Got any other guys?
Yeah, I need guys. Well, Sam, before we get out of here, I got to ask, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week?
Matt, I went to see Transformers 1.
I am fascinated to know what you thought.
It was actually really good. I
All
enjoyed it quite a
right.
bit. I'm the kind of person that it bothers me so much that every Hollywood cartoon about a toy line or a video game or something like that, they often feel the need to make it like a real person ends up in this crazy fantasy world. They did it to
Right.
freaking Mario. Like that is a kind of unofficial American version of Mario's origin, that he is from
Right.
the
I think we
real
can blame
world
the
and
Lego
ends up.
movie. It's that thing where
Well,
a movie
no,
does something really well, and a lot of other movies take the worst lesson from it.
this goes all the way back to the He-Man movie in the 80s where
Oh,
Courtney Cox ends up on
I see.
Eternia. This has always been a thing where people don't trust audiences to be like, this giant robot, I can identify with this giant robot who has emotions and acts like a person. It just looks like a giant robot. So then you
Right.
end up with Shia LaBeouf in your movie getting peed on by Bumblebee.
Hey, John Turturro got peed on, not Shia LaBeouf.
Sorry. So I hate those movies. I think they're
Mm.
truly evil movies, the Transformers movies from the 2000s or whatever.
Yeah.
This movie all takes place on Cybertron, is like an origin story that kind of applies to every version of the Transformers you could think of. That isn't something that's really usually talked about, but I think happened in a comic book or something like that. This like Optimus Prime and Megatron, how they kind of became who they are. But have you ever seen the Sea Beast? The cartoon.
I don't think
Sea Beast?
so. That doesn't
It's a
sound
Netflix
familiar.
thing. The point of that movie and the plot of that movie and the plot of this Transformers movie is that the powers that be are lying to you and keeping you yoked to class and capitalism. And it's so interesting. So it's about these minor class, like mining, like underground mining transformers who cannot transform, and they have to mine the energon, which is the food for all the other transformers who can't transform. But it turns out that that is a fake construct put upon them by the government of the transformers, who have usurped the first rulers of the transformers, who were benevolent, for their own power and to like hoard resources. The Transformers, Optimus Prime and Megatron, learn about they're two mining robots. They learn about this from like the dying last member of the previous benevolent rulers. They both agree we need to destroy the government. Now we need to go get rid of these guys immediately.
All right.
The only thing they disagree about is how to do it. So there is no thought of like, we should really maintain the class structure. We should really like, things are fine as they are. It is immediately, we need to go kick some asses. Megatron just wants to kill them, and Optimus Prime doesn't want to kill them. And that is where the disagreement happens. So to me, it is fascinating. And the Sea Beast is similar, where it turns out the government has been lying to the people, not in like a right-wing fantasy way, but in like they're keeping people at the level where they are artificially. So it's fascinating to me that so many movies are about that now. But what's also fascinating to me is that we got out of the movie and I went with my friend and his two kids, and one of the kids was like, gosh, I did see some Transformers toys at the store. I'm really thinking about that right now. But it's just like you're selling toys and you're also being like anti-work. Like maybe think about the power structures that exist in the world.
Yeah, who's making those toys?
Exactly. yes, little kid. There's somebody probably your age involved in this supply chain. But it was good, and the voice acting was good. And you look up who's in it, and you're like, that's one of the most famous people in the world. And I've
I was gonna say,
basically
how was
never heard of this movie.
Chris Hemsworth stealing my gig?
He was great. He was
Mm.
really good. He sounded exactly like a not as confident Optimus Prime who transforms into a
That's exactly what I can do. I can do
Yeah.
less confident Optimus Prime.
who at the end transforms into the Optimus Prime you know and love.
A truck.
Yeah, a truck.
Spoiler alert: trucks are in this
He
movie.
turned to a truck. The jokes are very like, he's right behind me, isn't he? That kind of like, or like, that just happened kind of jokes. But
Mm.
Keegan-Michael Key is really fun as Bumblebee. He's not Bumblebee yet. He's just B. John Hamm is the bad guy.
That doesn't make more sense.
Well, he's like
they also
B-
don't have bees.
Yeah, he's like B18756.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. The only person who doesn't work for me is Steve Buscemi as Starscream, because it really just feels like
interesting.
Steve Buscemi is like, what am I doing? Okay, I guess.
I mean, you're probably not that far off.
Yeah, but Brian,
I've heard so many good things about it, but I also like the trailers. None of them have excited me.
No, the trailers suck, and the animation looks kind of crummy at first, but you get used to it, and it does have little moments where you're like, oh, it's pretty cool. Brian Tyree Henry is really good as Megatron, and yeah, I just hope that they like make another one of these, because I think it's a fun world where they've set up like this fun kind of like, I want to save him, friends to enemies kind of thing between Megatron and Optimus Prime. That yeah, like the guy I went with is kind of like a movie snob guy, and even he was like, oh, pretty good. So
Right.
Transformers 1, pretty good.
I've just been watching so much TV, or at least trying to, because this is the season where everything is back on TV all at once.
Oh yeah, right.
And so the main thing is Abbott Elementary is back, which is very exciting. But I was like adding to my list of shows that I need to catch up on, and I'm in trouble, Sam.
Yeah, some of you don't even know we're back until you look
Abbott
into
Elementary,
it.
Bake Off, Shrinking, Heartstopper,
Shrinking.
Bel Air, Only Murders in the Building, The Acolyte, Shogun, The Penguin, Agatha All Along. This is my list of shows.
Yeah.
That's too many.
You're screwed. You're screwed. I've been watching Only Murders in the Building, and I don't know why people like that show so much, frankly, but
I mean, you've watched all of it so far.
I've watched every season because I do want to know who the murderer is, but
you could Google that though.
I could Google it. But I really like Martin Short is mostly the reason that I watch it.
Yeah.
And I think he's genuinely funny in it.
I haven't even started this new season yet, so so much to watch. But unfortunately for us, Sam, our time is spent watching other things.
Yeah.
Because the next time we're back with you here on Commitment, we'll be back to discuss 3 more episodes of Muppet Babies as we continue our journey through October of 1987 with the episodes Where No Muppet Has Gone Before.
Go to space. You think it'll be Star Trek, or you think it'll just be space?
I'm going to say full Star Trek. Journey to the center of the nursery.
Okay. Journey to the center of the earth. You think they'll meet dinosaurs?
Ooh, at least some weird creatures.
Yeah,
Maybe some like Fraggle Rock animated series kind of creatures.
Or it'll be completely not that, but that's
or they'll venture into the couch like you want.
Yeah.
And the last episode is This Little Piggy Went to Hollywood.
Oh, that sounds like it could be very fun. We haven't had a Miss Piggy focused episode in a long time.
Yeah, and they've also kind of removed the like her being the smartest one.
Yeah. She's got
which I don't love.
Yeah.
So hopefully she'll do something interesting.
I do wonder, thinking about Fozzie's personality shifting a little bit to being actually funny, and occasionally even like, I mean, he's still stupid, but not that stupid. I wonder if we will see them kind of like, as new writers come on who have different relationships with how they understand these characters, I wonder if we'll see them merge more with the adult versions of themselves.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this one goes, because it does seem like there's a lot, looking up the Miss Piggy one. It seems like there's a lot of Miss Piggy imagining herself in different movies and TV shows, which could be fun.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she does all the time anyway, as an
I'm
adult.
seeing Gonzo dressed as Steven Weirdbird, a Steven Spielberg parody.
Steven Weirdbird.
Yeah. So that could be a fun time.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
But that's not all we're watching, because we
Uh-oh.
also get to watch Kermit the Frog's appearance on Dolly Parton's show Dolly from October 25th, 1987.
I'm excited for that. That sounds fun.
Well, we need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com for your commitment needs. And, don't forget to drop a rating and review for this podcast on your podcast listening app of choice. You can email us at mail@commitment.com if you have any questions or links to secret unseen Muppet materials, especially right now because archive.org is still down. And so some of these things are a struggle to find.
Mm-hmm.
But you can follow this podcast everywhere on social media at CommitmentPod. And you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.